In today's video, we're gonna be talking about the new Linyo H1 car wash machine. Now, full transparency, I do not have one here, but I've been watching a lot of videos about this and I have a good understanding of what it is. Also, as a detailer for over 20 years professionally, I just want to give you guys my opinions on this and discuss, I think, where it fits within the whole landscape of car care. Now, my channel caters to professional detailers as well as DIYers, so I think there's going to be some mixed reviews on this video. So comment down below and let me know what you think about this item, right? So again, the DIYers I think may like it. The professionals would say, hey, this is not at all what we do. Totally understandable, I agree 100%. But based off of all the questions that I've been getting on this thing, it seems like there definitely is a demand for a tool like this. Now, for full disclosure, they did offer me a unit back in January. These are still not 100% available. Some influencers have had them. And like I said, they offered me one back in January. I declined. I just like to buy the unit myself and test it so I can be fully transparent with everything. Now, on the point of it not being available yet, it's actually sold through a Kickstarter campaign, which is interesting to me. And they have a couple different tiers of what you can contribute to get a unit. On that listing though, it does state that it'll be arriving in November, so still quite a few months out. And the pricing, it looks like the unit itself is going to be $499, but if you do it now, you get like 20% off and brings it down to like $384 or something like that. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about what this thing is. We'll kind of go do a brief overview of this, and then we'll talk about what I think it's trying to replicate and turn into an all-in-one solution. And finally, we'll talk about, do I think it's a viable option for your needs? Let's do this. All right, guys, so the Linyo H1, I have some notes here just jotting down of what it is, right? So it's an all-in-one solution. Basically, it sprays out foam, it wipes it down for you, it rinses it away and squeezes it clean all in one step. Supposedly totally safe for your paint. It does utilize a foaming soap. Now, this is where it got a little confusing to me because in my head, it was a waterless wash type of a solution, right? Which is different than a soap. But it does state on their website that you can use other soaps. And theirs is actually a wash and wax, so you're getting wax additives in it. But it's set for a 50-to-1 dilution ratio. So I think you can still use others. You just gotta do that calculation to figure out exactly what 50-to-1 will be, and then add that to the machine. So they state it is a pH neutral foam, and it is a wash and wax, like I stated. Now, they have two containers. It's almost like a carpet extractor for your car, essentially. That's probably the best way to think of this thing. A carpet extractor, you would have your cleaning solution in one tank, and then there would be a separate reservoir that collects all the dirty water. This is kind of the same thing here, guys. It's going to be removing the dirt, rinsing it as it goes, depositing that dirty water into the other tank, and then resupplying new, fresh, clean water with your solution in it. Now, some cool features of this thing, they actually state that you can do a whole car with half a gallon of water, which is awesome. They built it well enough where you can actually stand on the unit to reach higher places. Again, that's awesome. I'm glad they thought about that. There's also a telescoping wand so you can reach further across, larger panels. It utilizes a 5,000 milliamp hour battery that states you can do 2 cars on that, and then you can obviously charge it up after that. But the cool thing is it also converts into a vacuum, a little handheld vacuum that you can use to clean up the interior. So, who is this for? Who is it for? As a professional detailer, is this gonna be something that I'm using? No. But for the DIYer that lives in an apartment complex or something like that, I see the viability of why someone would wanna go with this. And again, we'll talk about the alternative, and I think, which is what I think they're trying to replicate. All right, guys, so what is this trying to replicate? And I think, to me, it's very simply that it's trying to replicate a gadgetized version of a waterless wash. A waterless wash is very simple. You spray your waterless wash mixture onto the surface, let that dwell a little bit. This is where I get a little bit confused because on theirs, they're talking about a soap versus this is a waterless. Waterless washes are designed to encapsulate the dirt, to create lubrication onto the surface. So when you bring the towel across to pick it up, you're not scratching or introducing any sort of harm. Now, the reason I think they're trying to replicate this is because typically when I'm doing a waterless wash, I take the towel, I spray the surface, I take the towel, and I bring it across the surface and roll it as I'm going. So any dirt that I'm picking up along this leading edge is now getting lifted, and I'm introducing a new fresh piece of towel all the way across the entire panel. And that's exactly what this machine looks to do. Again, injects the soap, you bring it across, it has this like little foam roller on it that's going to pick up all that dirt, similar to what a towel would be doing in this situation, right? Brings it up, as it's going in, it gets rinsed out and deposited into the reclamation tank. And then there's like a squeegee behind that follows through and cleans everything up. And then for your next pass, it's introducing nice clean water again. Now, alternatively, it could also be replacing like a rinseless wash method, in which case you would take a rinseless wash mixture, put that onto the vehicle, let that dwell, take a saturated towel or specifically rinseless style sponge, go over, do a contact wash, and then dry the panel after. Both of those options, a waterless or a rinseless, use under half a gallon of water, really. On the rinseless side, you fill your bucket to make a mixture for the sponge, and that would be the most water you're using, really. So on the waterless side, though, something like this, I can get around this entire car for sure with 32 ounces. And I want to be very, very clear about something. All of those methods that I just spoke about, I would recommend not doing on a very dirty car. It's something where if there's a little bit of dust and things like that on it, totally fine, safe. If it's muddy or whatever else, you're still gonna wanna take a pressure washer and knock that stuff off before going in to do that. Just my personal outlook on that whole thing. I wanna get as much off the surface before I come across with anything that could potentially cause any harm. Again, with the waterless and rinseless, it's creating that surfactant encapsulated solution where it's pulling all that dirt in. Basically, you can think of it as creating like a little barrier around it of lubrication. So when you pull across, it's not digging into the clear coat. So I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate a quick waterless wash on the hood of my car here, just so you guys can see, and really I'll try and get some close-ups so you guys can really get a good visual of what this is doing versus what the machine's doing, again, because I think it's just replicating that same kind of thing. And for this process, I'm going to be utilizing my Quiver Indo rinseless wash. Now you can use anything you want. Just this one's mine. I love it. It's a hybrid, so you get surfactants and polymers. Surfactants for the big cleaning ability, polymers for that extra slickness and a little hair of protection. But fantastic product here. When you're use it as a rinseless, you dilute at 256 parts water, 1 part product. So this stuff lasts a long time. When you go to a waterless, you double that up. So we go 128 parts water, 1 part of the chemical. So here we go. I'm just going to saturate the surface of the area that I'm going to be working on. We're going to just do a small little piece here so you can see real quickly. And basically we're just gonna let that sit for just a little bit, right? Just giving it a chance to encapsulate that dirt. And then we're gonna take a high quality microfiber towel. This is another thing that kind of concerns me with the machine is when I do this, I want a really, really premium towel that's going to absorb the dirt, not cause any harm. And for that, I'm utilizing the House of Rags Freebird 500. As you can see, it's just a really nice, edgeless, really plush towel. Fantastic. So here we go, I'll show you the process. And as you can see, as I roll the towel up, it's just keeping the surface of the vehicle as safe as possible. Like I said before, you're rolling it so that you're introducing a new piece of clean microfiber to each of that so you're not dragging any dirt across the surface. Now for my final thoughts on the Linyo H1 car wash machine, I don't think it's gonna be for the detailing enthusiast, right? I personally don't think that. Some of the downfalls that I see about that is this car in particular has a lot of curvature, and that little roll, I can't imagine, and the squeegee, I can't imagine how many passes I would have to do, because each, with that curve, your contact area is gonna shrink down, right? It looks like it's about a 6 or 7 inch roller, but that's gonna shrink on curvature, right? Because you're only gonna be hitting a little area of it. So now another thing is the squeegee portion or guide or whatever, is that going to leave a line of where you passed? I'm thinking of it as like you go to the gas station, sometimes you use a little squeegee there to clean your windshield real quick, and each pass you leave streaks of where that is, right? So you can have to work them down. Is that gonna happen here? I don't know, but that is a concern of mine. Now with all that said, I think they definitely have a market for this thing. Like I said, if you're someone that just drives your car and wants it to be relatively clean, and you're usually someone that drives through a car wash, I think this may be something that could work for you. Absolutely, especially if you live in a apartment building where you can't use water and things like that. If you have to park underground, again, this is a viable option. Now, would just doing a waterless wash work? Yeah, it definitely would, and be significantly cheaper. With this unit, you would save money with not buying microfibers as much. But again, I trust the microfibers more than this, I think, without actually having my hands on it and using it. So at $384, I think it's a bit pricey. I think like a $199 price point, I think they'd move a lot more units of this. I just don't know until I get my hands on it completely. But my first reaction is, as a professional detailer, no, I'm not going to use it. Why would I when I have a waterless wash and a rinseless wash to use? But again, for those people that want something as an all-in-one unit that they could store in their apartment super easily, take down with them, they can use it to stand on top of it to reach areas. I do see the utility there, and I do like the fact that companies are continually trying to push this industry of car wash and detailing. Again, this one would fit definitely more into car wash to me. This is not detailing. Detailing is much more inclusive and there's a lot more pieces to it. This is basically just, you know, cleaning dust and dirt off your car. So with that said, guys, the Linyo H1, I'm excited to see this thing when it actually finally comes out. Definitely want to check it out. But again, I'm not going to do that until I'm able to buy one personally. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like the video, make sure you subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and we'll see you on the next one.